sit here. I'll stand. They're all standing.
No, they're bringing our seats out.
What's up, Jeffrey? Yep.
I was too much just for two. I needed to limit my exposure.
Okay, I think we're about ready to get started here. Welcome to the Meet the Candidate program, sponsored by the Wells County Chamber of Commerce. My name is Rick Johnlows. I'm the Advocacy Committee Chairperson and also part of the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. It's our goal tonight for this program to better inform each of you as voters in this election of your local candidates. Our Advocacy Committee has prepared questions for tonight's program, and our organization does not endorse any specific candidate or political party. Assisting me tonight is the lovely Erin Pribble up here at doing the timekeeping, and she's the one that'll tell you to shut up and sit down when you get down. No, I'm not looking at you specifically, man. You're just right in front, so. Well, anyway, I'm going to sit down here. I apologize for turning my back, but I'll read over the rules for you tonight, and so you know a little bit what's going to happen and going on, and we will proceed then. Okay, our rules for this evening are as follows. We will move the form along quickly, and our goal is to get you out of here by 9 p.m. if possible. Questions have been prepared by the members of the Wells County Chamber of Commerce Advocacy Committee. No questions or dialogue will occur between candidates or the audience. This is a forum for you, the candidate, to express to the general public why you are the best candidate in your race. This is not a platform for you to debate or cast accusations at your opponent. Each candidate is seated in alphabetical order by last name. A coin toss at the beginning has determined who will go first. The same questions will be asked to each candidate. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question. The timekeeper will raise a sign at 30 seconds when it's at time left to speak, and a stop sign will be allotted at the 2-minute mark. Audience questions can be written on a paper and submitted in the back. Questions will be screened, and if time allows, questions will be selected to ask. Candidates will be available for individual questions after the forum is adjourned. And first up, I believe, is Matt Lehman.
Okay, and then just.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, first of all, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this. These always are great events to get to know your candidates. So, who am I? I am Matt Lehman. I am from Bern, Indiana. I represent the 79th District, which is now going to be all of Adams County, all of Wells County, but the little boot at the bottom, and then the 4 townships across the top of Jay County. That makes up the 79th District. I am married to Joy Dubal Lehman in the back of the room. Maybe some of you know her from the Dell office. I am the father of 3 grown daughters who live all in different states, but my daughter with the 2 grandsons that are here is in Ohio, only 20 minutes away, so it's great to be a grandfather. I'm a small business owner in Bern. I am a part owner of Bixler Insurance. What kind of defines me, I would say, is I was raised a man of faith, and I am a man of faith. I had great parents, great godly parents. They taught me the value of life. They taught me the value of family. Those are two of my core beliefs. As a historian, I love history. I'm a Civil War reenactor, and I have studied history, and I think we have the greatest form of government on the face of the earth. History has proven that 233 years of a tremendous democracy. And so with that, I am a strong supporter of not just one or two amendments, but all the amendments, including the Second Amendment. Had the honor of co-authoring the permitless carry bill this past session. Position-wise, I do currently serve as a House Majority Floor Leader. What that allows me to do is to have a little bit of say in a lot of what goes on in Indianapolis. We have led in taxes. We have led in tax reform. We have some of the lowest taxes in the nation. We're going to have lower based on 1002. We have some of the most deregulated government rules in most states in the Midwest. We have created in the last decade an environment of change, and I am honored to serve and look forward to serving in the future. So thank you.
Okay, Matt, your first question is, Wells County has performed an analysis on expanding State Road 1 from 2 lanes to 4 lanes from Bluffton to the Airport Expressway, and soon will perform an economic impact study. If the impact study comes back positive for the project, how will you support this at the state level?
Well, let's first start with what we supported, which is, to some people, may be controversial. That's the gas tax. When we passed the gas tax back in 17, one of the things we were very specific about is 100% of that revenue must go to construction of roads. It must go to infrastructure. It cannot go to salaries. It cannot go to equipment. It must go to roads and bridges. That has really helped us pay our way into the future when it comes to development of these roads, including the expansion of Highway 1. This has been an issue that has come up in the past. If you just stand and if you monitor the traffic, it is a heavily traveled interstate, and what I found to be true is it's one of the arteries going into Fort Wayne that is the one that's not a 4-lane. When you look at other entities, other communities surrounding Fort Wayne, this is the last kind of remaining artery that needs to be changed. So I'd be very supportive of that. There's always a balance of where it goes, how it goes, and the impact. But I think we need to put that corridor, when you look at the growth around Ossian potentially and Bluffton and things like that, I think it's key that we make sure that proceeds forward. So I would be very supportive of that.
Okay, thank you. Question number 2. What is the most important policy concern you have going into the 2023 budget session?
I would say probably one of the biggest priorities for me has been a priority for many years now that has not gotten quite the excitement of some, and that is rural broadband. Being someone who represents a rural area, I think it's very key. Many businesses today operate out of their homes. Many of the agricultural entities work out of their homes, and they need to have that rural broadband. I pushed that for several years. It was accepted, but not as a priority until COVID hit. And then we saw the need for that with e-learning, et cetera. So it really has brought to the forefront, both from the federal level and now obviously from the state has stepped up with some of the funding. I think you're going to see a much greater effort in rural broadband, and the budget session coming up will be a place I think we can kind of put our money where our mouth is and see more money come to rural areas. There's fewer and fewer of us who represent truly rural districts. There was an issue we had down in Indianapolis one time with AT&T, and they were talking about expanding 5G because they want to get into the autonomous vehicles around Indianapolis, and I begged them for a G. I said, we just need to get more rural broadband because as much as I love Indianapolis and all those things, it's the core of the state. We have to get more broadband and more high-speed internet into the rural areas. And so I think that has been heard, along with Senator Holman. I know he's beating that same drum. I see us pushing that pretty hard in the next budget session.
Okay, I'm going off script here a little bit. I hope Aaron doesn't slap me. But I'm just curious, how do you kind of throw your weight around for the rural communities when, like you said, you're kind of outnumbered anymore, Matt, and what's your strategy to doing that?
Well, I would say I won't take offense to the term throw my weight around. But I will say one of the privileges of serving in the position I serve as the majority leader is you have a seat at the table throughout most of those discussions. And so as things begin to progress, not only am I representing the 79th district, which is rural, but I also have a seat at the table. And what that has brought to the forefront is the ability to advocate on behalf of not just me and this district, but other districts similar to mine who are represented by people who maybe don't have that seat at the table. So whether it's to the Indiana Economic Development, whether it's to, in committee meetings or conferences with the Senate, or even in meetings with the administration, having a seat at that table really helps, I think, long-term in pushing that agenda of really helping more rural areas like we need to.
Thank you. Question number 3. Water and sewer infrastructure growth continues to be a costly expense for communities and ratepayers due to the rising cost. Because of rising costs, many communities are falling behind on necessary upkeep and growth of systems. How can the state become more involved to help reduce cost and support more infrastructure development in smaller communities?
Well, I think some of it's a balance as well, and that is we had an issue this last session with some of the regional sewer issues of mandatory hookup, and we had to look at, are there systems that are not failing? People who've invested in that system, should they be able to have a time frame available to them? And we took care of that this past session. But long term, I think we use this argument, we were debating infrastructure on road development or the roads, and infrastructure is, we can all see when a bridge needs to be replaced. We can all see when a road is in need of repair. But we also have a century-old infrastructure underground that is beginning to fail. And so the state has to step up and look at ways to help those locals, because that's all to the locals. All that water infrastructure underground belongs to the local level. I think the state has an obligation to step in and help in ways, whether it is through some of the redevelopment programs that are out there. I think, again, there has to be that balance between the ratepayer and the long-term investment in that. And I think that we kind of got there a little bit this year with protecting some of the ratepayers. But long-term, I do think we have to look at it's an infrastructure issue no different than a failing road or a failing bridge.
Okay, thank you. That's all the, yeah. We'll give you 1 minute now for a closing comment. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, 1 minute's a long time, so I'll just say this: it has been really the honor of my lifetime, and I know that I had a guy tell me today, if you're making people mad, you're probably not doing a bad job. And for the years I've been there, I think I have found the right balance. I think I'm a pragmatic person. I look at the issues from all sides, and I try to make the decision based on what's best for the public, what is best for the taxpayer, and in the long run, I think that has put Indiana in a great place. That said, it has, like I said, one of the greatest honors of my lifetime has been this position. I don't own this. It is not mine to own, but it is an honor to serve you, and I would look for your support in the upcoming election.
Thank you very much, Matt. We're done. We will take a very short break and have our sheriff candidates come up, please. Welcome, candidates. Before you are Scott Holliday and Ryan Mounsey. Scott, you won the toss, so we'll let you your opening statement go first, and then Ryan, you can follow up with him. This is 1 minute, 2 minutes. There you go. The floor is yours.
Welcome. Thanks for having us. Thanks to the Chamber for putting this on and a chance to get to know the candidates. I'm Scott Holliday, your Wells County Sheriff. First off, I'd like to say I love Wells County. I've lived in Ossian with my wife, Tara, for a better part of 25 years. We've raised all of our children there. We have 4 adult children, 4 grandchildren, another one on the way. So that is exciting. I consider myself a conservative, pro-life, Second Amendment supporter, but most importantly, I consider myself a man of faith. And every decision that I make is based on those core values. 3 years ago when I became sheriff, I had a clear vision and a purpose for what I wanted to do. That fact has not changed today. I look forward to another 4 years as sheriff with that same clear vision and purpose of what I'm looking forward to do with the sheriff's office. My job experience extends over a better part of 20 years with the Wells County Sheriff's Office. During that time, I've served as a deputy, a detective, chief deputy for 2 different sheriffs for 9 years, and the last 3 years as your sheriff. During that time, I was a crime scene investigator. I've been a firearms instructor, certified through the academy for the last 16 years for our department. I've also served on the board of directors for the Indiana Sheriff's Association for the last 3 years. And in 2016, I had the prestigious honor to attend the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia, and graduated in the 265th class for high executive leadership and law enforcement executives. So tonight I look forward to answering your questions, telling you why I'm the most qualified for this position, and why the county needs my leadership over the next 4 years. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ryan Muncie. I was born and raised in Wells County. Been on the Sheriff's Department for 19 years as a deputy sheriff, full-time. Born and raised on a farm here, learned to work hard. Went to Southern Wells down in the south part of the county. Graduated from there, went to Indiana Purdue Fort Wayne, graduated with a degree in criminal justice. I'm married to Lynetta Huffman Muncie. We have 5 children. Been a foster parent for 2.5 years now. And I've enjoyed serving this county as a deputy sheriff. I didn't see myself here 4 years ago, but I did see a need to step up at this time. And I just appreciate you guys coming tonight, showing interest, and I just appreciate anybody who looks into candidates. We need to know what's going on in our communities, you know, on the national and local level. So appreciate your time this evening.
Okay, first question is for Ryan. You'll go first on this one. Question is, why are you running for this position, and how do you hope to continue to improve the department?
Well, again, 4 years ago, I never saw myself being here this evening. I was on the Sheriff's Department. I enjoyed being a patrol officer, like I've spent my whole career. So 4 years, I had good expectations. And I'll just be honest, I've always appreciated Scott on a personal level. I've always got along good with him. We've always talked as friends on a personal level. But over these past 3 years that he's been the sheriff, again, this is not a personal thing, but his decisions have led to really low morale in the Sheriff's Department. I haven't seen it this low. So that's kind of what's driven me. And then also I have seen outside the Sheriff's Department just where our country's going. I'm just really concerned. I think we're in a time, things are just changing so fast. With the internet age and availability of technology and everything, things in our world are changing so fast that we are kind of in a crisis situation, even in our government. Okay, our government is making quick decisions, and a lot of them that they've made in the past year or so, especially 2 years under this COVID situation, has really concerned me, and that's really made me want to step up and run for sheriff, because I feel a need for leaders all the way from the local to the national level to be prepared to stand against things that aren't right, because you know our government is not evil in itself. Okay, it's got a great function. It's here to provide for us in some ways, but there have been several situations in the past few years that they have overstepped their boundaries, and so that's where we need good leaders on the local level to be able to stand against those things and have the discernment and wisdom to know when to stand for those things and protect our community from those overreaches.
Thank you. Scott, same question. I'll repeat it for you here. Why are you running for this position, and how do you hope to continue to improve the department?
Well, when I ran for sheriff the first time, it's the same as it is today. One is to fight crime. I mean, that's our job, is to fight crime, keep the citizens of Wells County safe in their homes and their properties and everything that they hold dear and near to their heart. That's the biggest thing. But I'm also running, I spent my entire career building myself and my education and my experience up to build leaders throughout the sheriff's department. I don't believe it's about one person at the top that makes decisions, although the decision stops usually with the sheriff or myself. But I am a firm believer in developing teams of people and building leaders within the agency. I think that's important for the future existence of how the sheriff's department operates. I want it to operate to be better when I leave office. I want it to be there for the next leaders that come up into that position, and also build those leaders up within the organization to be able to do that and pass that torch on as you go along so that we do get better. I look back over the 20 years that I've been at the Sheriff's Department. We started there. I remember we had, if anybody knows what Works is for a computer, we did our reports. I know there's older officers in here that used to handwrite them, but you know, today's age and the technology that we have, with body cameras and camera systems and the things that we implement within our agency to show transparency within our agency. And I also want to hold our deputies to a high standard. We revamped our policies and procedures. I want us to be an agency that's looked upon with high professionalism. We should be. The country has somewhat of a negative view on law enforcement, and I think it's very important that we are held to a high standard when we're the ones that can take people's freedoms away. I think it's very important that we do it by the book, by policy and procedure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Scott, you'll go first on this question. Question number 2. How will or do you coordinate alternative sentencing programs such as probation and community corrections?
We work extensively as the sheriff statutorily. You are put on the Community Corrections Board. So I serve on that. I'm currently the vice chair on the Community Corrections Board, which also has the head of probation on it. So we work with the courts in coordination with the types of crimes. We had to do this through COVID, where we had to take a strong look. Prior to COVID, they were looking at misdemeanors and saying how many people should really be in jail and for what crimes. So we are in the process. We just formed a JRAC team that is getting all the stakeholders for probation, community corrections, and all those things together so we can develop ways of programs that we're implementing within the community as far as programming, things within the in my own facility at the jail as far as programming, faith-based programs, recovery programs, and introducing them. I'm currently working with the Adams Wells Center as far as putting programs to help reintroduce people back into society so that we can reduce the recidivism or the returning of our inmates over and over for the same thing. We work together and collaborate very well as teams together, working with the prosecutor's office, probation, community corrections, the sheriff's office, to find different ways to do alternative sentencing. We used to do a work release program over the jail years ago, and throughout the years, that is something that has been more of community corrections. That people were qualified to be on work release, then they were able to be on house arrest and monitored through the community corrections. That way it didn't fill up the jail and tie up the services within the facility. So.
Thank you. Ryan, same question. I'll reread it for you. How will you coordinate alternative sentencing programs such as probation and community corrections?
You know, I definitely think there's a place for alternative sentencings at times. I mean, every situation is different. You know, I don't think there should be across-the-board situations, you know, maybe other than first-time offenders, you know, they kind of fit in a special class themselves. But I definitely think there's a place where when someone commits a crime, again, depending, is it a drug crime? Drug crimes are kind of, a user drug crime is a situation where someone, for whatever reason, has got involved in drugs, and does that person need to go away for 10 years for even methamphetamine? I don't believe so. I think that's a perfect opportunity to put that person in a program where they can get help. That's the biggest thing, is because if they don't get the help they need, you can put them in jail, but they're just going to get back and do the same thing, get in with the same people, get on the same drugs. We've seen that over and over. So again, at this point, I don't work with the organizations, community corrections, in my position as a deputy sheriff, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. And again, I support that. Because again, the end is not to put people in jail. The end is to help people better their lives, which improves all of our community, because again, if they're having problems, it always bleeds over to neighbors and our whole community.
Thank you. Okay, Ryan, you'll be first on the third question here. Do you think that devices such as body cams will improve accountability for officers and offenders? And if not, what devices do you suggest?
I think body cams are an excellent tool. I definitely think they will bring accountability to officers and offenders. I know back in the day when I started, we had little mini camcorders that sat on the dash of our cars, so no body mic or nothing. And there was some situations I was in personally, I know other officers, where it did kind of leave you out there when you had some kind of situation, because people may even see what's going on, or maybe not, because all they got is in front of the car. We actually got like 3 in-car camera systems with body mics. At some point, they give it to 3 of the most active officers, and I was the one of them that got them. And it was a little strange. It was a whole new awareness that people can now hear everything you're saying. And at first, it just felt really felt like you were in the spotlight. But I'll tell you what, 98% of the time, it really helped you out, because people could hear firsthand what was being said to you as an officer and why you made the decisions you did. So I think they're a great tool. However, I would put one caution on them, that they definitely need to be handled responsibly, because you got to remember that some of these systems, like the one that we just got, they actually, from my understanding, they actually record constantly. And I think there is a space there where we need to understand that officers are people too, and they need their privacy, because officers, do sometimes go to detail with their families and around people that's non-criminal. So that I have some concerns there, because I do feel like that everybody's privacy does need to be respected. I think they're a fantastic tool, and used correctly, they're really good. But I think every side needs to be considered.
Thank you. Okay, Scott, same question. I'll reread it for you. Do you think that devices such as body cams will improve accountability for officers and offenders? And if not, what devices do you suggest?
I agree 100% that it does. And that's why, as sheriff, I've implemented body cameras not only for our deputies, but prior to that, I implemented them in the jail. When I became sheriff, I learned early on a lot of false claims against our employees by inmates. There's a lot of cameras in our jail, but there's no recording devices. So if a jail made a claim that somebody either said something to them derogatory or whatever, it was hard to refute that claim. And as sheriff, I see all those complaints. So I think it's very important, just in the jail alone, we implemented those last year, and this has cut down on our complaints within our facility by using those. And most recently, we have ordered body cameras and new camera systems, again, upgrading our equipment for our deputies, and included in that is body cameras. I think the issues that are brought up can easily be taken care of through good policies, which I'm all for and part of. Our deputies and all our policies that I've implemented as sheriff has been decided upon by a group of deputies. They're not by me, have not been dictated by me, but have been by a group of deputies that have helped develop the best procedures for those. And we take concerns into consideration, and we develop those policies as a team. And I think that sells better within our department, with all our employees to be able to operate accordingly to those. But yes, the accountability part, I think it's great for law enforcement. I said transparency earlier. We are in the public eye. And I think when we do our job, we should have nothing to hide. We're out in the public, and we're dealing with offenders. And I think when the offender sees that they're on camera, and there's a camera on the front of our body, when we're dealing with them, it can change their behavior. It ain't going to fix them all, but it's helpful in court and helpful in convictions and how we deal with our public. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we got one more question here for you. I think we're running okay on time. Question 4 is go to Scott first. The national spotlight has been on in law enforcement for the last couple of years, and I know it's kind of been a deterrent to maybe getting new recruits or whatever. Do each one of you have an idea on how to do recruiting to get new deputy sheriffs and stuff to come into the force?
Well, there's agencies that have tried many things. I think one of the biggest things is trying not to differentiate us from the public. One of the things I've done as sheriff is one of my first goals was to create a social media platform for our agency to try to bridge this gap between us and society, that we are human just like them. I sent 2 deputies to social media school. They do have it for law enforcement. And we started with nothing. We have over 10,000 followers today. I'm proud of it. It's an information sharing thing. We are fortunate in Wells County that our public is very honoring to our law enforcement, unlike you see on the national scene. But yeah, we've tried many different things. It is. When I first started and applied for the positions that we have 20 years ago, we'd have 30 or 40 applicants applying for one position. Today, we're lucky if we get 7 to 10, and the quality of those sometimes are not what they were 20 years ago. So we need to develop, first we need to fix that fracture between us and the public so that we can take this bad light off of law enforcement. Because nobody wants to work this job, making the money that we make, working the hours and the weekends and time away from our family when they can go somewhere else and work Monday through Friday with weekends off. Nobody wants to work in the jail and get cussed at and spit at and all the things that go along with being a confinement officer in a jail when they can go somewhere else and work Monday through Friday with weekends off. So it does take a special talent, and we need to build this profession back up to professionalism within the community that people are excited, that they want to do like it was when I did it and applied for it 20 years ago. Thank you.
Ryan, same question.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. The national spotlight has been on law enforcement, and not always in a positive way, and how do you plan on recruiting new law enforcement candidates?
Yeah, it is a tough job. But I'll tell you what, a lot of young boys and girls from a young age look up to law enforcement, and a lot of young kids that I meet out on the street, they say, I want to be like you someday, or I want to be a police officer someday. And so I think the dream is still there. I think that there people still want to do the job. They still see the honor of the job. Again, we do get a bad light in the press, but I think a lot of people still have that as their dream. I think one thing that's important to bring new candidates into law enforcement, into specifically the Wells County Sheriff's Department, is to have a team that feels like they're a team. In other words, they feel supported within the Sheriff's Department. They feel like it's a family atmosphere. So that's something I really want to promote if I'm elected sheriff, because deputies and officers, they talk. They talk to each other. They talk outside to the public. They talk to recruits or people that want to apply and get into this line of work. And, you hear about departments. I could name a few. I won't, but I could name a few that it's kind of like stay away from that one because of the issues that are going on inside. And so I think, again, when you can foster a good working environment with inside, your guys are going to talk, and they're going to talk to new guys that are asking questions, and they're going to know, hey, this is a good place to work. So I think that's a critical thing. Pay is important, but again, the community of the law enforcement agency itself is also very vital.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to give each one of you 1 minute for a closing comment. Ryan, you can go first, and you can start things off. Thanks.
Yeah, again, I thank you all for coming tonight. And again, you know, races are always interesting to watch and especially to be a part of. And they get very long. But you know what? They're worth it. They're worth it for the freedoms we have in this country. They're worth it for our families and our grandkids that are going to be coming up, our kids, grandkids. And so we need to do what we can to protect and serve this community. You know, I just encourage you to check out, again, the candidates' websites. Don't just make a decision, you know, based on a name, but check us out. And again, you know, pray about it, you know, because sometimes it can be a little confusing. Sometimes, you know, sometimes there's too much information, and sometimes you don't feel like there's enough. So, again, I just appreciate your time this evening. And I just would appreciate if you would, again, at least check my website out as well, since I'm talking, you know, and get to know me. And, again, make an informed decision. So thank you for your time.
Would you say 1 minute?
1 minute.
1 minute. Well, there's a lot in 3 or 4 questions that we don't get to cover in this, but again, like Matt, it's been an honor to be sheriff these last 3.5 years or so. Looking forward to continuing. We've got a lot accomplished over 3 years, things that we didn't talk about. We are currently under a jail renovation project. Working with council and commissioners have been wonderful, saving the taxpayers tons of money to not have to build a new jail. Looking forward to a jail that'll last 35 plus years is beneficial to the citizens of Wells County. And it is. And going back to that, you know, I want to leave this place better. I've fought hard for the Sheriff's Department over the years. I've fought for pay matrix, making us a competitive department in the community. And we are a department that people want to go to. I hear it from applicants that apply. We always ask them why they want to work here, and they say because we like what we see. We've heard good things about your department, and at the end of the day, that really makes us feel good. It makes us feel cohesive in what we do. I look forward to an opportunity for another 4 years. Thank you, and appreciate your vote.
Thank you, candidates. We will take a short break again as the assessors come up to take the stage. Everybody's staying tight. Nobody getting up or anything. That's good. You don't want to miss anything. Okay, I think Laura has won the coin toss, so we will go with opening introductions, and you can start. You've got, what we got for this? 2 minutes. There you go.
Is this already on? Did you know that out of 92 counties in Indiana, only 21 have a lower median property tax than Wells County? Did you also know that the Assessor's Office is the only county government office that you must have a certification to work or hold that office? I'm Laura Roberts, and I'm running for Wells County Assessor. I bring 17 years' experience to the table, with 9 of those years being in Wells County. I do have my level 3 certification as well. At one time or another, I have done every job in our office, from personal property, appeals, real estate transactions, rentals, and handling exempt properties, to clarifying a new code with the DLGF. And I also work closely with our vendors, Nexus and Exoff, to understand how the work that they do affect the taxpayers of Wells County. I set a very high standard for following Indiana code, being professional, serving our taxpayers, and working well with other county offices. If I'm elected, my main priority will be to regain the trust and respect of the Wells County taxpayers. I will also focus on helping people understand how and why the assessment process works the way it does. And I hope to encourage that through education and communication. While I never aspired to be an assessor or work in an assessor's office growing up, I love my job. I love the people and the challenge of never knowing what the day will bring or what I'm going to learn that day.
Thank you. Kelly, your opening comments?
Okay, good evening. I'm Kelly Herman. I'm the Wells County Assessor. I'm not very good at this public speaking, but I'm going to give it a try. I would like to thank you all for coming tonight. I know you have busy schedules, and I appreciate your time. I would like you to know a little bit about me. I'm a certified level 3 assessor appraiser by the state of Indiana, which is a requirement to be the assessor. I am the Indiana Counties Assessor Association Northeast District President. I am a member of the Association of Indiana Counties and a member of the Indiana chapter of the International Association for Assessing Officers. And I have been appointed and currently sit on the executive board for the Community, Family, and Services. I also do lots of volunteering when needed, and recently I just volunteered for the Bridge of Hope Gala, which was a huge success and very inspiring to me and many other people as well. I'm married to Tony Herman, and he is very supportive and encouraging. We raised 5 boys and 1 girl, and together we now have 9 grandchildren, and we're hoping for more in the future, but, you know, we are truly blessed that way. Okay, so now you know a little bit about me as a person. Being the assessor has been a privilege and an honor. I am very blessed with amazing staff. I will agree with that 100%. We do try our best to work with other offices to help taxpayers, and that all goes back to the sales disclosures, which we'll probably talk about more later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. You'll take the first question here. And some of this may be a little repeat, but that is fine. We'd like to know why the voters should select you to be the Wells County Assessor.
Well, first of all, like I said, it's been an honor serving you the last 3 years, and I feel like I've done the best job that I could for the taxpayers to try to make fair assessments. We do utilize Nexus Group. They are very good at what they do. I will say that I have worked with them in other counties as well. They come highly recommended. I feel like we are doing the best that we can with the market the way it is. I don't know if you guys know, but there is a little bit of a housing shortage. So it kind of turns the supply and demand, which tips it towards the seller. So if you're a seller, that's great. But it kind of, puts us back to higher assessments because that's what's selling. That's what we're coming back to.
Thank you. I'll reread the question for you, Laura. Why should voters select you to be the Wells County Assessor?
I said before, I love my job. I'm very qualified to be in this job. I came to Wells County from Allen County, which is a lot larger than Wells County and a lot of different situations that we have to deal with up there. Stacey O'Day is one of the best assessors in the state, and she trained me well. I love learning new things every day. As much as 17 years experience can give you, there's definitely always something to learn every day. I enjoy it, and I just enjoy the challenge of the housing market and all of the different things that challenges, whether it's sales disclosures or very angry taxpayers because their taxes have gone up a lot and their assessments have gone up a lot. And just being able to explain to people and educating them and helping them to understand why the process works the way it does, because it's not an easy process. It definitely took a lot of years to perfect, if it is perfected. It took a lot of years to get us to where it is now, and it's important for people to know how that process works. And I think I am very qualified to continue to educate people and to just continue the process and make it work the way it's supposed to.
Thank you. Am I one of those very angry taxpayers that comes in and you don't have to answer that?
No. No, you've never yelled the way some people
Okay.
yell.
Well, can you tell that to my wife? No, that's all right. Okay, question number 2, and this will go to Laura first. What is the role of consultants in determining assessments, and how will you use them?
We use a consulting group called Nexus. They are very important in our process. Well, first of all, we have our field guy. His name is Adam, and he is the one who does all of our reassessment, new construction, demolitions, every permit that comes through. Adam is our guy who goes out and does all of that work. For us to have people in our office that would be trained to go out and do that job would be tremendous. Take up a lot of office space that we don't have room for. I don't think we could fit anybody else in our office if we tried to. So it's important to trust the consulting people that we have working for us, and we do. Nexus is a fantastic group. They also do our ratio studies and trending, which is when everyone gets their Form 11s in a couple of weeks. They help us do all of that work also, which would then probably take another 2 or 3 people in our office just to do that job. So they play a huge part in our assessing process. We have a great working relationship with just about everybody in that group, especially Adam. I'm on the phone with Adam probably 2 or 3 times a week. He doesn't do things without checking with us. We don't do things without checking with him. But the amount of work that they do for our office it would take a lot more people in our office to be able to do the job that they do. And I would definitely want to continue that relationship with them.
Thank you. Kelly, same question. I'll repeat that for you. What is the role of consultants in determining assessments, and how will you use them?
Yes, for the last few years, we have used Nexus Group, and like I said, they come highly recommended. I've never really found anything off the wall, and if we have any problems, we're very easy to discuss with them, and they're on it, even if there's a problem or something that we see. Adam also worked for the county, so everything is very consistent, and which I really like. From when he was actually working in Wells County and in our office. So, you know, he understands exactly how we do assessing for Wells County, so it's very consistent, like I said. The ratio study, I mean, all of that stuff goes to the state, and they look over the sales disclosures and tell us for sure what ones we use. We like to have that vendor also helping us with those sales disclosures so that they are aware of what sales are in those neighborhoods. That helps them with the ratio study as well, and they do, you know, check with us, like Laura said, if there is an issue. And I definitely would continue to use them. I worked in other counties, and they also use them as well. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Kelly, you're up first on the third question. Currently, only one member of the Wells County Property Tax Board of Appeals Board is from Wells County. How will you work to support more appointments being from Wells County?
Well, coming into office, I utilized the people that were already on the board, And as time went on, one member did pass away, so we replaced him with someone else that was from Wells County. And it just didn't work out for that person. Their job took them to travel, and they didn't want to commit. So that person had stepped down. So we did have an opening, and I did ask someone to apply. We did advertise the position. So, I mean, if there is more open positions, if people would be watching for that, that would be great. I would like to find some people that we could send to class so they could get some certification. I think it's really important to have the education as to how we actually assess in our office so that when they do have evidence presented, they can understand it fully and make a very informed decision with what is going on with that taxpayer. Because we do want to be taxpayer friendly, but we also don't want to give away the farm, so to speak.
Okay, Laura, same question. I'll repeat it for you. Currently, only one member of the Wells County Property Tax Board of Appeals Board is from Wells County. How will you work to support more appointments being from Wells County?
When you're on the PETA-BOA board, the Property Tax Board of Appeals, you have to have one person on that board that is a level 2 or a level 3. Currently, in Wells County, we don't have any level 2 or level 3 that are able to be on the board. So definitely advertise. Definitely, I think PETA-BOA has got a little bit of attention, so we've had a little more interest. Just advertising, putting it out there, explaining to people what it takes to be on the board, what qualifications you need. We also have to have opposite parties on the Property Tax Board of Appeals. So it is a bit of a challenge, but definitely advertising, asking people, putting it out there that we need people to be on our board. But having someone in the county that is a level 2 or a level 3 makes it harder.
Maybe you could get some of those angry people that are coming in to go to school and qualify themselves. No? Just an idea.
It's a thought.
Okay. So, Chad, did we have any other questions turned in? No. Okay. All right. We will give you a 1-minute closing statement, and Laura, you can go first.
I just want to say that if I'm elected, I will very proudly serve and represent our taxpayers with experience, integrity, and professionalism. And like I said before, I love this job. It is challenging. It's great. And I look forward to it if I am elected the new assessor.
Thank you. Kelly, 1 minute.
Thank you for the opportunity to serve Wells County as your assessor for the past few years. It's been truly an honor to work with the taxpayers and other offices and my staff, and it even says amazing staff on our website because they are amazing. Wells County is a wonderful community to live in and work in, and it's been amazing to watch downtown. It's just beautiful now looking out our window. I mean, I feel like it's just, it's so much inspiring seeing that mural every day. And also the growing house problem that we have more apartments popping up, and it's just has a lot to offer, Wells County does, for the future. And if I'm elected assessor, I'll continue to do the things that we're already doing and try to be more involved in the community if I can. I do try to, I'm going to be volunteering at the garage. I know Laura got to, but, oh, sorry.
Boy, you're lucky. You were just about yanked
time
off the
was
stage
up.
there. You don't want to see Aaron get like this either. Just kidding. Thank you very much, assessors, and we will. Okay, next up are Wells County Council candidates. Please come to the stage. Instead of coin toss, let's do rock, paper, scissors or something.
We'll put Brian here, Mike here.
Well, hi everybody. How we doing? Do I need a mic? I talk pretty loud most of the time, but I guess whatever you think.
How do you know you're first?
I'm hoping.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I have to read the rules. I don't know what the rules were. I missed the rules.
Well.
If I go over what happens, I'm yanked off the stage.
That's right. Well, okay, we will do an opening statement from both of you, or just an introduction, sorry, and then we will start into the questions. So, Mike, you are first on the introduction.
Well, thanks. Well, I appreciate everybody making it tonight. It's a full house. I like to see it that way. People should care about their government. I think everyone knows me, but if not, I'll go through the bio. My name's Mike Mossberg, running for County Council, District 1. My family's here with me tonight. Actually, Shelley on the front row. My daughters, Olivia and Chelsea, as well. I'm a graduate of Southern Wells High School. I went to Purdue, graduated from the winter short course. I've been married to Shelley for 37 years, wonderful years, every minute of it. I'm sure she agrees. Maybe not always, but I own and operate 2 businesses here in Wells County. The one is Tech Services. It's located in Chester Township. It's an ag research and testing firm conducting replicated field trials in corn, soybeans, and wheat across 12 states with a staff of 15 full-time and 30 seasonals. We generate and provide data to our clients for products in the field of ag. The second business is Mossberg Enterprises. That's a family farming business with roughly 1,200 acres under management at this time. We're located in Liberty Township. We were formerly just a dairy, but now we have gone into cash grain farming, and that's the lion's share of my 2 businesses. But at the moment, I'm also a member of the American Seed Trade Association, the Indiana Seed Trade Association, the Independent Seedsman Association, and a few other professional things. I see I have 30 seconds, so I'll speed this up a bit. I'm currently serving as president on the RSD. I historically was on county council for 8 years, 2 years as vice president, 1 year as president, and I would like to have an opportunity to do that again if at all possible. In my time on the council, we did stop wind turbines. We did hire an engineer. We moved the RSD into full operation, and she says stop.
Okay.
I can? Okay, one more sentence?
One more.
If elected, my goals will be to work with the current council on infrastructure and grant funding for other needed projects. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Brian, your introduction?
Well, good evening, guys. Well, ladies and gentlemen. It is good to see a lot of familiar faces in here, and then a lot of people that I've never seen or met before, but it'd be nice to get to know a little bit better. Just a little bit about me. I'm a 6th generation farmer. Our farm has been in the Rock Creek Township I'm the 6th generation, so for that long. So it's just been, I've been born and raised in Wells County, almost 38 years. Lived in District 1 for 28. My wife and I have 3 kids. They all attend Bluffton. I graduated from Norwell 2003, my wife from Bluffton 2003, my mom graduated from Southern Wells, my dad from Norwell. So we've just got a lot of ties around here. We've grown up around here. This is where they said I've been born and raised. My wife and I own a business here in Bluffton called Bluffton Strength and Conditioning, where we hope to be making people healthier and stronger. This is the first time I've ever ran for any political position. Something happened 2 years ago that really affected and personally affected us and our business. Got me trying to pay attention a little bit better. And leading up to all this, just something kind of happened to where the person in this district is stepping down, and had a lot of good people that I respect kind of throw my name out there. And between praying with me and my wife praying, we really thought it was a good step to take. something that maybe is the next step of what I've been searching for the past couple years. And I just wanted to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to speak, and hopefully to be able to speak here in the future.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the first question. Brian, you're up first on this question. Question is, what issues do you feel are facing the county council, and how would you address them?
A few issues maybe would be just, I know one personally was just trying to find things, and the meetings are great, and having the availability to come to the county council meetings are great, and just recently being able to come to one of those was a good opportunity to realize what's on the table. I think something that maybe is not a huge issue but could be improved would be transparency, and I mainly like the district that I'm in, you know, nothing against who's in it now. It's just I think it's something that could be improved, and I think Scott mentioned it before with it, and it's just a huge deal right now. People want to know what's up for debate, what's up for decisions, and I just want people to know that they have a voice and they have a place that they can go to hear that and to put out their opinion, whether it's for good or bad or for it or against it. So that would be one place that I would like to start as far as an improvement to help out people that are looking for what people are deciding.
Mike, same question. I'll reread it for you. What issues do you feel are facing the county council, and how would you address them?
Well, initially, we have had several items on the agenda. Certainly, from my point of view, being on council for the period of time I was, we did see several things that were what I would consider delayed, or perhaps what they often say is can kick down the road. You know, as a council person, the first 2-3 years, you're basically spending your time learning how that works. It's a learning curve to see how the process works. Now, initially, as a member, you observe. You don't really have the ability to contribute much. So once I was vice president and then ultimately president, the reality is you can move projects that you feel important forward. Obviously, for me, the staff of the county is critical to the services that the people expect. And that's one of the things that we've tried to address with wages, trying to work off of a better system for equalizing the pay rates for people. You know, the sheriff's matrix was, I was involved with that quite a bit, and it certainly, I hope it helped improve the staffing for the jail. But at the same time, working conditions are critical too. I mean, at the end of the day, the highway project, as far as the garage, has been long, much too long to be out there hanging. And that's something that I thought was very important. It was critical to get the staff where they're recognized and it's an important. I think that's the hottest topic here at the moment. You know, from my point of view, initially, how to fund these kinds of projects was important. I'm glad to see council move forward with selling that farm. I was all about that because the county doesn't need to be in that business. And it's an underperforming asset, and we needed to do something. So getting the highway garage moving and done is what I hope to see, number one. Grant funding for infrastructure. You know, Wells County historically was always, I'm not stopping yet, was always a donor county. And in the last 2 to 5 years with the engineer, we've pulled in over $40 million in grant money that historically did not come here. Thanks.
Okay, Mike, you're back up here on the third question first, so I'll read that for you. As Wells County continues to elevate waste... Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped 2. Okay. We'll do 2, Mike.
No problem.
I know. If $1 million grant was received, how would Wells County spend it?
If a $1 million grant was received, well, my goodness, we brought in over $10 million just in the sewer district alone. So we put in into infrastructure, pipe. We've improved the potential.
All right, let's make it $10 million then. I'll up the ante.
Now you're talking.
If $10 million grant was received, how would Wells County spend it?
Well, as president of the sewer district, I already know. We're putting it in pipe in the ground, and then ultimately those towns will be in compliance with state law. So that's a big start. But at the same time, if you think about selling the farm, that is a little bit like that. You know, it could have been a process where that revenue, once it was gathered, it could be used in multiple ways. But, you know, for us, where at the moment in my line of work with the sewer district, that's a priority. You know, housing in the region, if you look at those towns that had no sewer capability, nobody could build. They couldn't do anything. We had a housing shortage, and it was real. So a $10 million grant could go to a lot of things. But I still think that at the end of the day, four-laning one would be a great advantage for us. This town and this community has been behind the 8 ball for way too long. And a lot of it has to do with choices, good choices and bad choices. Reality is that if you can get 10 million, which, you know, it's not that hard to achieve. We've already done it, and we are keep doing it because that's the right thing to do. So in my view, there's a number of projects that we could go forward with. Toxin and Kingsland would be some, and I tell you what, we've already filed to get that grant money, and it'll come because the state deems it critical. The state of Indiana is dead last with the EPA. Water quality is critical. It is critical. If people really look at it, our recreational waterways are unusable today because we've not committed to infrastructure. You know, partnering with the mayor and the city of Bluffton for sewer treatment has been one of the biggest benefits that I can tell you today. It's not popular, but in 5 years, let's look again, because I'll guarantee you it will bring development. It'll bring positive things to this community. As I say, I didn't take any of these jobs for the fun of it. I took them to get it done, and that's something that hasn't been done. Thanks.
Thank you. Brian, same question. I will read it to you. And gosh, this is inflation. We went from 1 million to 10 million, but I guess that's what we're living in. So, if a $10 million grant were received, how would Wells County spend it, or how should Wells County spend it?
I think infrastructure and the highway garage building are like important things to focus on. And as being someone, like I've worked for the state highway department, and being in a building where you can't get all your trucks in to being where what they want to do is get all the trucks in, is just really taking care of your assets there, because you got a ton of money in those trucks, and just taking care of them, getting them inside does make a difference, even though from outsiders' view it might not seem like a big deal. I really like the idea of maybe taking care of the south end of town a little bit. It just seems like some of those places are neglected a little bit. It would be cool to see, I don't know, stuff like the infrastructure stuff go into where maybe people would want to come here. Maybe if local businesses were able to get some help and some support to be able to go there. I know we really like to focus on downtown, which is awesome. I think the downtown in Bluffton is amazing. But I also like the idea of maybe south and maybe wider in this county would be really neat. North and south is awesome. Getting wider, expanding that direction, not just north and south, is important. And then just the southern end of town. It just seems, growing up here, just that it's been a little forgotten every once in a while. And everybody kind of wants to move north or move towards Ossian, which is great. I'm not against that at all. But the south end of town could use some help too.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Brian, you're up for the last question here. As Wells County continues to evaluate ways to grow, and improve resources, how will you actively support funding mechanisms and continue to support grant funding of local projects and other initiatives?
Well, like I just said, I'm a big fan of growth here in Wells County, and I think it's a great idea to, with having 3 young kids, giving them a place where they're proud to either stay at or come back to or be a part of. Supporting growth for Wells County would be a huge topic of to where I'd want to make a point to help out with. Whatever that means, as far as whatever like other directions that I could bring for people to hear or to see, and just helping Wells County with the growth, with people wanting to bring businesses in or wanting to bring shops in or restaurants would be really awesome to see for Wells County. But then also Wells County getting behind maybe what we already have and building that up and making it even better.
Okay. Mike, I'll reread the question for you. As Wells County continues to evaluate ways to grow and improve resources, how will you actively support funding mechanisms and continue to support grant funding of local projects and other initiatives?
Well, certainly what we're doing in the sewer district is doing that now. And as I say, we will move forward with Toxin Kingsland and ultimately Petroleum Reifsburg. Those are all areas where grant funding is readily available. It's easily captured because once you commit to the project, the state wants these projects done, and it's the right thing to do. So certainly my expectation at the moment between federal grant funds and the SRF, Craigville's project is actually no borrowing. There's no borrowing by the RSD for that project. So all grant funds between the American Rescue Plan, which had to go to infrastructure, and then the SRF's commitment, that is a project that will go forward with no borrowing. That's significant. That keeps the rates low. It keeps people in a position where they can improve property and do other things. That in its own right will help development. So in the grand scheme of things, what I've seen is the sewer district has been one of the biggest benefits to infrastructure, potential for housing, and face it, it's the dirty little secret that we all know is there. Let's not deny where we are with this. We're well past it. So again, it's a positive for the community. It's a positive for the people that may have problems otherwise, that maybe their house would be condemned potentially. So it's a positive. We were just so far behind compared to other counties. You know, we rated #1 for every project so far. There's a reason for that. It's because government didn't support it for 20 years. McKinney-Paxton is has a bad history from this county, and like I said, it doesn't have to be like that. A little leadership, and it can be better. So my sense of it, that's where infrastructure is an easy path to take because grant money is readily available, and that in its own right is a positive. So, thanks.
Okay, thank you. We have one more question for you that's turned in. Do you think we should build more homes and businesses or keep our farms and land and fix what's already in our communities? That would be Mike up first.
Oh. Well, you know, personally, there's a challenge in what are the right steps to take for farming. And let's face it, housing is a shortage in this area. But you know what? A lot of the towns that are basically falling backwards are those same places you can build houses. And there's plenty of property that is not actually farm ground that could go into housing. I mean, we can be serious about what's important and say that, look, food production matters. I know this county's focused on other things as well. Solar farms are a hot topic. I'm disappointed it hasn't been asked yet. But the reality is, all it takes is a war, and you can be that close to a famine. People need to think about it, because when we stopped wind turbines back in the day, it was the same argument, the same debate. What's more important, food production or electricity? I would support solar. I have solar array at my office right now, but you know what? That could be done on parking lots, commercial buildings, the jail. It could be used in a better way than on farmland. That would never be my first choice. Housing, you know, again, it's not, I would say it's the best choice of farmland, but at the same time, it's still America. If you own the property and you're not offending your neighbors, there's a place for that. So, you know, I built a house in Wells County when I moved here. I moved my company up here and I built a house. So I could certainly not be the guy to pick a topic like that and say, no, let's not build. But I do think there are places for it, and maybe there are places that aren't, as I said. But it's still America for now, and I hope people appreciate the fact that it is.
Okay, Brian, I'll reread the question for you. Do you think we should build more homes and businesses or keep our farms and land and fix what's already in our communities?
Well, with being a farmer and growing up on a farm, I have a lot of respect for farmers having the right to do what they feel is right for their farm. As much as I would love to see most farm grounds stay that farm ground, I still love the idea that people are able to do what they want with their ground. And like I've said before, like I think there's a lot of good stuff already set up. It could just use a little TLC to help it be a little bit better. But I do agree, like, if there's ground available, somebody's wanting to put up some houses, like it's already happening. People are already doing that all over. We've already seen a lot of people want out into the country anyway, and the ground that's out there for them to build on is farm ground. So again, if you're not taking off your neighbors and they're all right with it and you're all right with selling, they should be free to choose what they can do with their land.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we will have closing comments from each one of you, 1 minute each, and Brian, you'll go first.
Were there no other questions?
That's it.
Well, thanks again for letting me talk, guys. I really appreciate this. Just hopefully you guys have gotten to know me a little bit better through this. I just want transparency in government. That was a big thing that got me in this, and I'm not saying Wells County doesn't do that. I want to be a part of making it better. And I really want, like the last question just said, I really want landowners to be able to know that they have a voice. They have a voice, whether it's county council or their own, that they can say yes or no to their ground. That's theirs. And then just that, like, I'm for growth in Wells County. I want it to be responsible growth. I don't want it to be out of control, yes to everything. Like, it just needs to be done to keep Wells County a good community, like a good small community feel while growing. And I think both of those can coexist. I don't think just because you're getting bigger, you're going to lose that small community feel. But I think it needs to be done in a responsible way. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, your closing comments?
Now, you guys know I love to talk.
got
I
1
can't
minute.
quit.
1 minute.
I can't quit in the middle of a sentence, though. It's hard.
You'll have to try.
Well, as I say, I was on council for 8 years. As I say, I really enjoyed that work, but I certainly like being vice president or president more. So it was a good time to be on because there were a lot of challenging things. You know, it's a thankless job, some of the stuff that I took on, but you know what? And I got the COVID year, which that made it worse. It's very difficult to have politics as usual when obviously you're having meetings in a confined space with few people to be around you to actually consult with. But at the end of this, I hope that people can make a measure. They decide what they're looking for as a candidate. Certainly, my intentions are to look out for the residents of the county, both in the tax side of it, but at the same time, the staff of the county. They serve us well, and we should at least do our best to serve them at the same time. So I'm looking for votes. Let's get out there and do it. Thanks.
Thank you, and thank you, councilman candidates. I think we're done. I think we'll have all the candidates come up to the front in case there's individual questions that you'd like to ask them.